everyone and welcome to my pottery journey. My name is Nicole and I've been doing pottery for about 1 year now. Today I'm going to share with you what I made in my most recent term in pottery classes. First of all, some basics. I made some cups and I'm not too happy with how the glaze turned out on these ones, and I think it was my fault. So first one is this cup here. Shape's alright. I was trying to do clear glaze on the inside and a pretty coral on the outside, but it turns out I'm not very good at pouring out the glaze, and I got a lot of clear on the outside. And I thought I would just leave it because if I sponged it back, maybe the pot would have been too wet to absorb the glaze I put on the outside. But it just kind of looks a bit messy to me. So what I did, I poured in the clear glaze, poured that out, not very well, and then once that dried, I went back and dipped it in Create that airlock, so it only got the outside with the pink, and this is the result. So that's piece number one. The same thing happened with this piece here, very similar. It's a cup, but this time I've got a thumb indent in it. So easier to hold, I think. Clear glaze on the inside, again, I didn't pour it out very well, and this outside glaze was actually supposed to be an aqua colour, but I obviously didn't stir it enough or dipped it in way too quickly, because you can barely see it. You can see some of the aqua in the parts where the clear glaze is, but my instructor suggested that maybe I try reglazing this one. So I've never done that before, so we'll see how that goes. It is actually glazing week this coming week, so I'll bring that back to class and see what we can do with it. The term topic was cloches and matching pieces. So I did make a cloche, but I don't like it very much. It's this purple one right here. So what we've got is the plate, which that's turned out nicely. It could be a spoon rest. It's got a nice big crack on the bottom there. And I've put a little spiral in it when throwing. And this is the cloche part, and it's all right, but look at that. It's warped pretty badly, so I don't know what I did to do that. It must just be the memory of the clay. Maybe when I took it off the wheel, it warped. And funnily, actually every knob this term, not just mine, fell off in the bisque firing. So we've all attached them back with glaze, so that's stuck on pretty well. But because I threw this piece this way, I've actually got some S-cracks on the top here, if you can see. So I find they're a bit unsightly. Not my favourite piece, but I guess it's kind of successful as a cloche, but I don't really see the benefit of it. So if anybody's got any ideas what to use a cloche for, maybe putting a candle under there or something, I'm all ears. I also made a jug, the only handle I've attached this term. I've done better with handles of late. This glaze is really beautiful, but they're talking about not using it in class anymore because of the drips. And I thought I gave enough clearance, but as you can see here, it did drip quite a lot, and I was lucky actually that it didn't stick to the kiln shelf. And this bit here was actually quite sharp because this is glass, and my instructor's like, here you go, just know that this is very sharp. I've told you what you need to know, be careful. So when I got home, I wet sanded this just so it's smooth, so I can actually touch that, it's not sharp. But definitely something to be mindful of. But I do quite like this one. I definitely love the colour, so I'll be a bit sad if it is discontinued in classes. So this being the first jug that I've ever made, it's been quite successful, but I have used it a couple of times. The spout is a little small, so I have to pour gently and slowly for it to work quite well. If I go a bit aggressive, it does just kind of pour out. So that's just a functionality. I wouldn't say it's a flaw, but just things to note going forward, making jugs. Using the same glaze as before, this one actually turned out pretty well with the clearance. I mustn't have dipped it as long as I did this previous one, But here is a garlic grater or a brush cleaner or whatever, spoon rests. That's why I put the little lip on it. And I've also cut 3 holes in it here for herb stripping. So this is actually for a friend of mine. She sent me this video about a year ago that had these being made in them. And I finally think I've made a successful one. So this is for her. And I'm quite proud of this piece. So my instructor suggested that I wipe back some of the glaze on the carved clay bit here so that it actually stays sharp. So you can probably actually grate with it. And it's turned out pretty well. So from what I've been taught, if the clay is shiny, it is still food safe, it's still got glaze on it. But if it's kind of like matte like the bottom, it's not. It will be waterproof, but maybe not as food safe as it is when it has that glass layer over it. So it's easier to clean. So I hope she likes this one. So how I've done this is I've used a small trimming carving tool. It's quite tiny, I don't have one here, but it's got a little triangle on the end and it's a lot smaller than the Mud Tools Do-All trim tool. And I've out quite a rough surface here so that it actually grates. We want it to be a bit on the sharp side so that we can actually get some purchase and get some grating action happening there. And last of all, my favorite piece, but it hasn't turned out completely perfect, is my strawberry jar, my sugar jar. This one, the knob also fell off on it, so I've used a pink, the same glaze that this is supposed to be actually, to stick it back on, and it's been pretty successful. So I've thrown this with calipers. It's a gallery lid, so I've made the gallery in the pot. So this time I actually made sure that I had enough thickness at the top when I was throwing it to be able to make that gallery. I actually thought this clay was going to turn out a whitish colour, but that's totally fine. It's still cute the way it is. So I've painted strawberries with underglaze on this one. I'll put the lid back on. So I've actually managed to do, I think, a reasonable job of making this lid fit. So it just sits there on the gallery like so, and there's not much wiggle room. And there's not much wiggle room around it, so I think I've done pretty well with the lid, but unfortunately the same problem with the cloche on the lid is I've got some S-cracks, because with this lid I threw it this way, so as a bowl, and I thought, so underneath is quite nice, no cracks, but I did get some S-cracks on the top, so I'm going to have to work on my compressing, I think. But overall, if we just ignore the cracks, I think it's really cute. Now, which is my favorite piece? It's a hard one. It's either the garlic grater, because it's turned out so well, or the sugar jar, because it's so cute. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed seeing my pieces. And please let me know in the comments if there's any other videos you'd like me to make as a beginner potter. And hopefully I'll upload a video soon of my next pottery class haul. Thanks for watching.